Yo, what's up? Retro review time. 1992. One of my favorite rom-coms dropped on the scene. Directed by Reginald Hudlin. Yes, Eddie Murphy's Boomerang. Man, this was an absolute delight. Eddie Murphy's always been loud, talking, crazy, never pretty boy in his movies, And, in the 90s, if you was kind of dark-skinned, it wasn't cool. It was, people were still into the light-skinned people, But Eddie Murphy played this character called Marcus Graham. He was a male chauvinist, a womanizer, but man, it didn't matter. The women was at his feet. He worked at this marketing firm, all black. Okay, this movie is so beautiful. Even the extras with no lines, you're like, who is that? I would marry her. Movie is gorgeous. Okay, it got Robin Givens, Halle Berry, Chris Rock, Alan Grier, Martin Lawrence. Come on, Eartha Kitt. They're like, who's Eartha Kitt? Eartha Kitt was the original Catwoman from the Batman show. And yes, she was black. The first Catwoman was black. And it's kind of funny, Halle Berry's in this movie along with Eartha Kitt, and she became the second black Catwoman. But we won't talk about that. Okay, this movie, basically Boomerang. You know what a boomerang? You throw something, it comes back, metaphor. Marcus Graham can have any woman damn near he wants. If she wasn't perfect, it wasn't happening. I'm talking, he had the most perfect girl. This girl was beautiful. He pulled the covers back after making love and her toes were jacked up. He was like, oh, can't do it. He had a fling with his next door neighbor. She talked too much. He thought that she was whack when they went out for dinner. And he was just going through life, sleeping with women, not satisfied. His homeboys are like, Negro, is you crazy? You don't fuck her feet. These guys are the true homies, man. They would work out together, go out to dinner together, go shopping together, man. And this movie has so many classic comedy moments. And the soundtrack is dope. We was introduced to Toni Braxton when this movie came out. Whew, Lord Jesus. And Halle Berry, up until this point, Halle Berry played a crackhead in Spike Lee's Jungle Fever. She was in The Last Boy Scout. She played Damian Wayans' girlfriend, and she got shot and killed. So Halle Berry was making her way up, and this was the movie. This was the movie that made her an international star. Oh my God, Halle Berry can act her ass off. She's not just a pretty face. And like I said, this cast is gorgeous, is hilarious. And House Party, the director from House Party. There's a scene in House Party where the next door neighbors are getting upset because of the loud music, this married couple. Well, that married couple, they didn't actually reprise their role, but they play a married couple again in this movie at the dinner scene at Eddie Murphy's house. It is probably one of the most funniest, quotable table dinner scenes ever in a rom-com. It was just, don't be pussy, whoop, whoop, that pussy. If you haven't seen it, you don't know what I'm talking about. If you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The funny thing is, when this movie came out, I would never forget, critics ate this movie alive. They didn't say the acting was bad. They didn't say the direction was bad. They didn't say the script was bad. They said it was unbelievable. I'm like, what's that supposed to mean? They said there's no way there's a real life story of a black marketing firm with all these rich, well-to-do Negroes and beautiful black people all in one building being successful. And I remember reading this print like, can they say that? Hey man, Hollywood back then, blacks, browns, we had no say. So, and Eddie Murphy was one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, and they tore this movie apart. Forgot to mention Grace Jones is in this movie. And let me tell you, her scenes were scene stillers. She was the model for Strange, this new perfume fragrance that the marketing company was hired to promote. And man, Grace Jones is absolute gold in this movie. She is beautiful, she's fierce, and I did not know how funny she could be. This movie is damn near perfect from a comedic standpoint. You got Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence sharing screen time together. I'm like, wow. And at the time, In Living Color was hot. You got David Alan Grier. I mean, this was just a blast. The theater I went to was crowded. Me and my high school sweetheart went opening night. I laughed so hard. Luckily, I sat on the end. I got out of my seat and walked up and down the aisle during the course of the movie holding my stomach. I wasn't the only one. There was a few other brothers doing the same thing. When we crossed each other's path, we slapped five or gave each other a dap. Black people love this movie. And one thing about Eddie Murphy, he's not just a funny boy. You know, he cares about his craft. Between Coming to America and Boomerang, I've never seen this many black people on screen in a light where they were kings, queens, or office workers who wasn't picking up a broom and sweeping and mopping. It was beautiful, beautiful to watch. And I mentioned Chris Rock is in this movie. He's not in there a lot, but man, he works in the mailroom. You know, that's probably the lowest job. And even he came to work looking good, you know, suited and booted. But man, whenever that man spoke, it was hilarious. I mean, I don't know what kind of comedy everybody's into. I prefer black and raunchy comedy. And this movie has it to the T. Boomerang is a classic. Again, the soundtrack was booming. It was all over the airways. Like I said, you had Tony Braxton. You had TLC was on this soundtrack. PM Dawn. There was a rap group that can sing. They had this song on this soundtrack. Oh my God, I wore that song. One of the most beautiful love songs you will ever hear. It's called I'll Die Without You. And there's a scene in the movie where Eddie Murphy's trying to get his girl back. He's dropping these sweet lines and he said, I can't breathe without you. I mean, whoo! Can't give this movie enough praise. Eddie Murphy's Boomerang, 1992 classic. If you haven't seen it, I don't know what planet you live on. If you have seen it, let's celebrate together. One of Eddie Murphy's finest films. Again, one of my all-time favorite rom-coms. People like Pretty Woman. They like The Wedding Planner and all. Fuck those films. Sorry. Give me some black people falling in love and being funny. You got my attention. Boomerang did just that. Until the next time, be sure to like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends, and more importantly, leave your comments down low. And I'm out. Peace. You know the routine. Fade to black.